wondering what was going to come next. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the opportunity to address you this evening. Can I begin by, of course, acknowledging that we meet on Gadigal land, pay my respect to elders past and present and emerging, extend that respect to any Aboriginal people who are with us in the room today, and I think in doing so also acknowledge that Aboriginal people have been teaching and learning on these lands for tens of thousands of years, and that's a great tradition that all of you in this room continue in your day-to-day careers. Can I also congratulate everybody who's been acknowledged and honoured with awards so far, and those who are yet to come. And can I apologise for being the after-dinner speaker as a politician? I know one thing I've realised since being the Minister for Education is that teachers know how to have a good time when you all get together. And I think you're all enjoying the break, so I'll try not to speak for too long so that you can get back to having a good time tonight, as you so very much deserve, given the dedication and passion that you all have for the roles that you play. I guess I just want to say a few things tonight. Firstly, I want to acknowledge the work of the PTC and all of the professional teacher organisations that are represented here in the room, because your associations really are a crucial part of our education system here in New South Wales. You're crucial because really there are few leaders in society who are as important as you as teachers and the work that you do when we talk about the future of our state and of our country. It's something that I see every day as Minister for Education. I'm so thrilled and proud to have this role. I was at a meeting this morning of 100 new principals, and I told them I've been in this position since the 2nd of April last year, and I remember that date because there was talk about the Cabinet being sworn in the day previously, and someone thought it probably wasn't a good idea to have a new Cabinet on April Fool's Day. So I know it's since the 2nd of April, and that will stick in my mind. But it's a great privilege and an enormous honour to work with so many teachers and educators who value education and who love what they do. And it's a passion that I see not just as Minister but as a mum, as Dennis mentioned. Bio actually needs update. I've got 2 kids. One got mentioned in there. Annabelle, my eldest, she's 6 and in year 1 at Gunnedah South, where we live in Gunnedah. And then Annabelle, Matilda, our youngest, was 2 in November last year. So I guess not only as Minister but as parents of young children, my husband and I, in our public school system at the moment, in our early childhood services, it's something that I really value the work that you all do, and I just wanted to acknowledge and make note of that in my remarks tonight. Now, ultimately, I think my purpose here a bit later tonight is to give out the Ministers for Education's Award, which I'll do a little bit later on. But again, I just want to reflect on how important the PTC are and the way that you unify associations from right across the education spectrum. We've seen that represented here tonight, but particularly the fact, and I think Dennis, you alluded to this in your opening remarks, that you really cover the whole of education cycle from early childhood to primary to secondary to tertiary. That's very rare, but it's a very, very important organisation in the role that you play, because this is about lifelong pursuit of learning. That's what you do. That's what the people in this room do each and every day. And it's something that is really close to my heart, being Minister not just for education but for early childhood learning as well. And I think one of the areas that I'm really passionate about working on, where I think we're making some improvements but we need to do more, is trying to break down some of those gaps that exist in terms of the silos that we seem to have in the education process. And I don't think enough of us think about the continuum of learning that really starts from birth and goes all the way through. And we tend to kind of have a siloed mentality of early childhood, then we move on to primary, then to high, and then to tertiary. But I think that and vocational education is part of that as well. But I think sometimes there's some gaps in between those areas of learning, and things that we can do to work together to really improve that continuum of learning is something that your organisation particularly has a very big role to play as we work, so that we can make sure that those transitions, rather than being bumpy, become much more smooth and linear. And as I said, that's an area that for me personally I think is very important in the role that I have. Because, you know, we're at a pretty interesting time in life and in our society in general, I guess. We've got unprecedented advances, I should say, in quality of life and in living standards, but we have to accept that education is something that doesn't end once we finish our formal schooling, and we're all constantly learning. And you know, you talked about the professional development that you do as an organisation, and this is what it should be about. These are the conversations that we should be having. Particularly, I think, and again, I know that Paul mentioned it in his remarks earlier as well, but the support that we can give in our schools, the way that we can work towards making a clearer pathway between high school, vocational education, training, tertiary education. There's a lot of opportunities there that we can achieve together. And I think a lot of these themes are pretty current and relevant right now, particularly given the curriculum review, again, that Paul spoke about. And he did mention that looking at those pathways in the senior years is a big part of what we want to achieve. Can I also say thank you to the PTC for the submission that you put into the review. I know that you are very much invested in what we're going to achieve through this curriculum review, and your submission, I should say, was very gratefully received by those at Professor Masters and those of us like myself with a very keen interest in the outcome of that review. Because as Paul said, it really is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for reform. It's very clear that I think the biggest theme that I've got from talking to teachers about what is in that interim report is that decluttering of the curriculum. It's a constant. It doesn't matter what school I go to, what classroom I'm in, speaking to what teacher or school leader. That is a very, very common theme, and I think that is an admission that there's more work that we need to do in terms of the decluttering of the curriculum. We want to make sure that we give you the time to teach your subjects and to teach them well, and I think that's one part of what Professor Masters has done that seems to have almost universal agreement that that's an important area and an important first step. Obviously, the final curriculum review report will be in the hands of myself as Minister later this year. And I think, as Paul mentioned, it's great to have a lot of recommendations, and that's what we hope to get out of the work that he's doing. But it's also going to be about how do we make it fit across that breadth of schooling that Paul mentioned. But the way that it's going to work is how we implement it. And that's what we're going to need the support of each and every one of you in this room to do, your organisations and the work that you do every day, because we can't see effective change and improve outcomes unless we're all on that journey together. So can I just say finally, thank you all. You really do an extraordinary job, and I feel, as I said, very blessed to be Minister for Education. I think that the work that you do each and every day is valued, and it's recognised and acknowledged, and it's appreciated by many people, not least me, in this amazing opportunity that I have to be Minister. So thank you so much for inviting me tonight. Again, congratulations to everybody who has been honoured and acknowledged, and I hope you can now enjoy the rest of your evening. So thanks very much.